Oh, yeah. Hey, team, how are we going? It is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz, and I am finally back wearing purple, almost regal, as we go into a live stream. It's been a while, team. Any reasons? Okay. At the moment, how are we going for sound, actually, team? How are we going for sound? G'day, Dwayne. How are we going, mate? Good to have you here, team. Jezebel, I knew it, Jezebel. Second and no bastard. How are we going? Some thumbs up here. Sound's going well. Yes? No? Please? Just waiting for that thumb, guys, then we'll go on. G'day, Kaz. G'day, mate. G'day, Oz. I always get your name wrong. Sound is good. Okay, fantastic. So, guys and gals, we've got an introduction I'm about to play for you in a second. I'm really glad to have had some good news today from one of our candidates, Mitch, who's just found out that he's going to the military in June. Got all the positives. Sahara Sands, how you going, my dear? Elise King thinks she's the queen. Okay, great to have it. And she's going in, I believe, at the same time as Mitch, which is great to hear. These spectacles, you won't see them again. I've got the brand new ones downstairs. Make me look 10% smarter in those big conversations. Hey, mate, finally called one of your streams. Great to have you here, Solar Void. Yeah, that's right. And going in June as well. Yeah, Mum and Dad and Denny saw the passing out parade at Puckapunyal. Yeah, g'day, mate. How you going? Off to Duntroon in 11 days. Bam, can we get some thumbs up to Duntroon? Because I tell you what, we need some leadership. But we're going to talk about now, this goes for about 3 or 4 minutes. What we're going to do is go into the introduction to really lay out what today is about, because we've already said today is about big trouble. Standards dropping, definitely. And we can all see it. We've got recruiting, okay, on the drop because of HR and the pollution they've created. Retention, leadership, and capability, everything down. We need to go upriver. We need to talk about this. And the reason we talk about this is so that it reaches the ears of those that are not getting told the truth, that are in positions that need to hear the truth. So, Kaz, tell me the truth from my lived experience so they speak from a liberal perspective. Here we go. Enjoy. Imperial Romans, as we start the Roman project, which some Kaz and the Romans, the Republican Romans over my shoulder, that is, and we've got some more there. And we're leading into the Imperial Romans as we start the Roman project, which sometimes distracts me from what we're doing right here. But in saying that, so does this filthy claw. Okay, that's about as useful as 20 litres of diesel in a Tesla. But tonight, we're going to talk about upriver all the way down to where we are now. What we're seeing is the betrayal, I believe, of an Australian institution less than a week after we've just got up for dawn service for ANZAC Day, Capion Day, Cabello Day, whatever you want to call it. Wherever you decide that you're lest we forget falls. What we're seeing now is a total eclipse of the heart, well, the Australian military, so to speak. And I don't know where to put a touch on it. So tonight when we go into this, understand that the reason why we do this, the reason why we have a voice, the reason why we say this as this introduction, is not to be negative about an institution I still believe is the best career for anyone at the start of their job anyway, you know, especially males, to give them that sense of mission, that sense of identity, that sense of scaffolding to allow them to be the best version of themselves when they go into trades, whether they go into uni, whether they go into entrepreneurial business. Listen into that one. That is very important. What I'm saying is this is a fantastic springboard into everything in life. This is about knowing who you are before you're dedicated, stuck to, on the mouse wheel of a relationship, okay, of a commitment to something you may not have chosen, something that doesn't fulfill the roles that you need to scratch. You don't do things in the wrong order, go and work for 20 years and join the military. You go to the military and then it teaches you how to be a better team person, better manager, maybe a leader, successful father, etc. Keep going, Dad. Whether it goes into a marriage or it goes into as a father, when you learn how to be a fucking man, okay, and you won't know until you are one, until someone else says that you are one, well, it's important that we address on how you get there. You don't suddenly become a man by being an apprentice plumber. You don't become a man by going to university. You don't become a man, okay, by starting a business. You can find failure. You can find success as well. It's all about an internal combustion mission engine designed for you to find out exactly who you are in the bad times, surrounded by others that won't let you off the hook, that hold your feet to the fire and make you the best version of you through adverse conditions, but also sharing the spoils as a team member. You have to be able to be led before you can lead. Remember that. So what we're going to talk about. The reason why we talk about the decline in what's happening with the Australian military at the moment, Air Force, Army, Navy, leadership, everything and all of above, is because at the moment we're being let down, and I haven't worked out yet, is it ignorance? Is it, what's the other word? Negligence? Or is it deliberate? Because at the moment there seems like an element of deliberate where we actually have no leadership at all in the military and the army. And I don't mean from a military perspective. What I mean is from the perspective of they have no fucking voice. It has been completely taken away by the HR of our political arm that is not allowing our soldiers, our leadership, our scholars, those that have walked the sands of foreign nations, you know, who have had dead soldiers, you know, signatures to mothers, all of that. They've done their bit. But now they have no voice. It's like a cuckold father that has no power in the family house, despite the fact that he still has to kill the wolf, provide the food, provide the shelter, but has to sit there, doesn't have a chair, eats last and gets treated like a piece of shit and gets no sex in a cold bed in summer. The reason why I say this is so that if it gets to the right ears, people like General Stewart OAM, you know, because he's not going to hear this internally from his own people, that there's something wrong. We've got PDIs that have no power at all. There's no fitness test to get out of Kapuka. They pass that problem on. We've got no standards. We've got no training at Kapuka. We pass that problem on to people that aren't instructors. So instead of getting a formal instruction, they get a formal brief by someone who's not qualified or senior to be able to give that or understand the downflow effects to capability. We have a HR department that's completely failing Australia, which is failing in turn capability, which is going to end up taking lives because people don't know what they don't know. When the shots start firing, it's the kids that bleed. It is. And ultimately it comes back to you. And then we're going to hear people screaming when their life is impacted. We're giving money to Ukraine. Why? While we're taking money from our own defence. We're giving money to female shelters for domestic violence while we're taking away shelters for Australia. We are now allowing the inflow of immigrants at a rate that we cannot contain while we've got a housing crisis. Now, what else is going on? There's so many things. Quotas leaking into military through HR, which means we travel at the speed of the fattest, which means we're in big trouble. And if enough of these people get in and they end up staying in, then that will become the standard of commanders as well as those that are the guy and the girl on the ground. We need to be rude. We need to be mean to be kind. Because ultimately it's going to mean how much Australian blood hits the soil needlessly. And if I'm the parent of a soldier, I want to know that the leadership has actually got a voice. And it hasn't been taken away by some female minister or some bloke who's trying to survive his tenure while he eats olives and pretends to like them. That's me for the moment. That's the introduction. Let's crack onto that now. We'll go a bit deeper. Thank you for being here. I can't use my paw at the moment. You know, Pornhub, sorry. I'm not subscribed. Take it easy, guys. Let's get there in a minute. Okay, and remember that Mitch just got his date for enlistment today, which is fantastic. You know, it's not all bad news, guys, but we have to be honest. If you're going to take me seriously, take the channel seriously, get on Patreon now and let me coach you in what people don't always want to hear but need to hear, because one day it might save your life or your family's. Travel at the speed of the fattest. Let's go. Fat Lady sings, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." Hey, team, how we going? There you go. We'll get rid of that lesbian ghoul.
After the intro, just you still get doing these. Speaking, you but yeah, so when you see my he's from ex-US Marine. They are
Hey, team, how we going? How's that? Is it good as back on? How's that, team? Let's see a thumbs up. Let's go. Here we go. Are we on? All right, I think we're back on. So, team, it's amazing how often this happens when you say the right words. Yeah, it's like I have power. Yeah, thank you for hanging in there with me. We didn't even really drop any people. Is there any new subscribers here, team? Let us know if you're a new subscriber by typing new in the what can we put in there? Yeah, put elbow in the comments. What we're discussing before, team, is it seems like our country is looking after everything except our own, while trying to tell us that they're there because they love us. It doesn't make sense at all. Hey, Blakey, where is he? Has he said anything? Hey, Johnny Diggs, one of the best people on YouTube, team. Right there. Where are you? Bass Dog. What do you got? I think the ADF have gone about this issue all wrong. They should be motivating people to reach high standards rather than copying out and letting everyone in. I think what it is, leadership is not actually hearing the message. And I'm going to start upriver all the way down to where we are now. So let's start with recruiting. Okay, recruiting have put false ads on to bring in the false people. They're bringing in, and Albo is the biggest hypocrite for this. He cost us $400 million with the referendum. Now he's making it look like he's been a nice guy to Ukraine, but the stuff he's donating is stuff that we can't maintain or don't want necessarily. But at the same time, we shouldn't be giving anything to Ukraine. Nothing. And the reason I say that is because the patriotic people of the Ukraine that are losing and dying every day, what we're doing is we're keeping them in a protracted fight. I don't believe they're going to win. That money should be held back. And when there is a peaceful resolution on the table, then we can give more than that, than what we give in cash to try and rebuild that country and get them back to a standard that gives dignity and respect back to a country that didn't run, that stayed and fought and kept their land. But you don't encourage, someone who's copping a flogging, okay, and they might say they're not. They are, because there is no winners over in that conflict, and it's heartbreaking. And I say prayers to them all the time. But money going to there, money to shelters for the security of females, despite the fact there's probably thousands of shelters throughout Australia. The fact that we're actually deteriorating our national security while calling other things a crisis. You've got to fix a problem before it's a major problem, but we've got to the stage it's a major problem. What do I mean? Well, now we've got HR that is bringing in quota and understanding that we're a corporation that moves at the speed of the fattest, the slowest, and the capability which almost guarantees unneeded on the battlefield. Okay, as a result of that, what's happened is it's ultimately deteriorated in the type of people that turn up motivated, a calling to serve a nation that they believe loves and respects them in return. That is not happening. We're seeing government cuts happening in the same week as ANZAC. That is a disgrace. Richard Marles, you should have some power. You and the Chief of the Defence Force, okay, which should always be Army, okay, mixed with the Chief of the Army, etc., people that have got the most ability to have had kinetic impact on a battlefield and understand what it looks like to see a dead soldier on the ground, at a ramp ceremony. You need to go up there and say, consolidated voice, shut your fucking mouth, politicians. We're there for when you fail. Okay, and at the moment you're failing, you're giving us the wrong people. You're taking away us into an area where you're asking for us to take on the people that do not suit the role, cosmetically, physically, mentally, and you're even dropping standards so that there is a two-tier system or where some people will get sacked, if they can't meet the standard of people that have a standard twice as slow of them that are half their age. That doesn't make sense. Where are we? Happy hobo, mate. Just ring me up, man. Everyone. If you want to have a conversation, chief of the Defence Force, it includes chief of the Army. If you feel like you're not getting the answers and you need to speak to the truth, then give me a call. Because one thing I can tell you, and to anyone in the Army that might be thinking, oh, Kaz, I don't really like the way you go about some of this stuff, the tone of your voice sometimes, remember one thing. I talk to about 8 people a day who are going to be the reinforcements for you in future battle. I speak to them every day. I hear their frustrations. I hear the 7 and 8 month employment waits. There's no need for that. I hear the discrepancies between those that because they're the right gender, okay, or the right sexual leaning, get a red carpet in when they're not even ready to get in, while others that are highly capable, might have some nut allergy. They've already fucking know by now because they're alive not to eat goddamn satay, but you're telling them, no, they can't come in for that. All freaking shit, said in Spanish. Mierda, as they would say. So recruiting has completely failed, and they all need to be sacked, all of them. And let's stop getting fatties. If you're fat, you're not going to recruiting. You should look like what people want to be like, not someone who's there for a break. And if so, if you are BMI challenged, if you are pigmentally enhanced, calorie enhanced, okay, then do something about it. If you're injured, that's fine, but you can't be in the front rank. That's fine. Right. So, guys, what we need to do is we need to fix up recruiting, completely rescale it back. No more charging the taxpayer money until someone has got to the position where they're almost through. What do I mean by that? Don't charge someone $1,000 or give it $1,000 to a doctor to do a online, unrealistic, psychometric. That's not even a word, I don't think. What do we call it? Lesson on someone to say that they're psychologically ready or not ready without ever meeting them in their life or face to face ever. When you would have known from the start that they didn't pass pass their aptitude test. There's a bunch of free tests that can actually sort John West rejects out before we actually get to the academic level that costs the taxpayer money. But when people spend other people's money on other people are never going to meet, they don't seem to give a shit. How do I call? Also, DW, I'm civilized and I won't slur. Mate, happy hobo, have we got you on Patreon already? You should have my number if you have. Guys, to get one-on-one contact with me, all you need to do is jump on Patreon. It's the price for coffee a month, right? And then we sit there and talk shit about every and any subject you want with no filter. That's how you get to the truth. Okay, if you need a coach, get on board. If you don't, it's on you. I can't drag you to the water or beat your heart to make you breathe. Okay, so we get from there. We get to Kapuka. The first thing that's happened is they've seen a reduced Kapuka. What are they taking out? Everything that used to give support cause a little bit of a taste, yum, yum, a bit of MSG of what it was like to, where they're shoulder to shoulder with a lot of the jocks and future special forces individuals. That's all getting taken away. And what's happening is now they've taken away the fitness test. So PDIs, I'm looking at you. You want to walk around with big arms, big tattoos, thick necks, giving all of the shouting, be here, get there, move now. Well, I don't respect your power because at the moment you haven't even got anyone that's got enough nous, or enough respect within the corps that can speak to the chief of the army and say, we're going to lose people. Capabilities going backwards. We're getting weaker and slower and fatter. Kapuka, how dare they let someone out of Kapuka that can't even pass a BFA, the basic fitness assessment, which is the basic employable level for even serving within the Australian Army. And then Air Force and Navy, I don't think they even have one at all. So they're getting out without a physical test, shortening things, taking away passing that problem on to the next school that may or may not touch it or may not have anyone with range qualifications that can actually teach something, throwing grenades, doing gas, all of those innocuous things, having people that can't do a single chin-up, yet throwing a 455-gram F1 grenade, with a casualty radius of 15 metres when they can't throw a potato fucking 3. My God. the common sense behind this. All I can say is this: ignorance, okay, is this deliberate? Because we've got some very, very smart people, and this doesn't make sense unless they have no voice at all. And guess what? If you've got no voice, you've got to go. You're a leader. You're a manager. You're signing on, you're getting the check, but you're making no impact because you don't have a fucking voice. Cuckold father. That's what it is. Okay, so that doesn't happen. It's been reduced. So now people are now got one of the highest quit ratios at Kapooka, despite the fact there's no standard there at all. I'm lost. I don't know what's going on. And then they get to Singleton and they flock. And I don't even know what the standard is at the School of Infantry anymore. Are they going to reduce that now? Because what you don't know is when you go to Kapooka or when you go to the School of Infantry, as a section commander, don't get it confused, don't get it twisted. That's not the same as a corporal in the battalion. A corporal in the battalion is a junior corporal. When you go to the School of Infantry, when you go to Kapooka, the proviso is you go there, you do your time, you make the corps better, you make the army better, you add something to the table, and when that's all said and done, you go back to the unit as a platoon sergeant to another unit because you were a senior corporal the whole time you're at Kapooka or Singleton, and then from there, you either sink or fucking swim. Happy hobo. Go down to the Black Legion, mate. The Black Legion, I think, is open-ended. I think we've got about 60 members in there now. Guys, this stuff is common sense. Everyone in the army can see it, but they're not allowed to have a voice. And that's the hard. Everyone in the army above a certain rank is allowed to put anyone on social media except the kid who's proud as fuck to have his family name on his chest before he's got medals on the left if he's infantry. Well, anyone. Let's allow people to be proud. What happens if they get to the battalion and now they've got this massive competency logbook full of all of these things? They're going, well, when am I going to get time to train these guys? The battalion is not a training facility. The battalion is designed to train for war 24 hours a day, to be ready. A line with his balls in the air on the Serengeti that says I'm ready for the fight, but don't annoy me while I'm sleeping unless you want to put the knuckles in. Because at the moment what I'm doing is repairing from my last hit out outfield or my preparation to go to Special Forces, and there I go. Let's talk about Special Forces. Where do Special Forces recruit from? From the Royal Australian Regiment for commandos, the second Commando Regiment, okay, down in Sydney, or the Special Air Service Regiment over in Western Australia. What's happened to them? Absolutely gutted by being attacked by their own organisation. I wouldn't even know how many are over there at the moment. But I can tell you one thing, you can't replace them. There's no replacing SASR soldiers. And our regiment is below numbers too, which means they're not going to have the recruiting pool, and the recruiting pool might be getting strangled. Guys, there is 100 things we can do to turn this ship around, and I haven't had a single phone call from anyone in the army that says, Kaz, why don't you shut the fuck up long enough to put a suit on, put your medals on, come down here and speak as someone that can hold their cussing in for a little while and maybe communicate in a way that people that aren't butt-sore or leaning too far left that have poisoned the chalice can actually listen to you and go, you know what, don't like the guy, but what he's got to say, after 24 years, that'd make me a master in any single trade that exists. You wanted me to lead the troops overseas. You wanted me to be the instructor at the highest levels, okay, in Australia, training and educating and assessing your leaders, but now you don't communicate with me after I'm out? That doesn't make sense. I do it for free. If you don't use me, that means you're not using your sources that are available, which means poor leadership. Identify talent that is voluntary, use it, and if you don't, it's at your own fucking peril. Yep. I would love nothing better than to General Stewart to come down here and say, Kaz, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Let's sit down and take it easy and have a communication right, at the War Memorial. There's no better fitting place, and let's talk about how we can turn this around, because there's one sad thing. I love the man. Okay, General Stewart OAM, love the man. But guess what? He's the only name that is going to go down, for all of this. All of this is going to fall back on his shoulders because he's the only name of this nameless corporation, the Australian Army. And he doesn't deserve this. He's inherited a mess. And he may not even be in a position he can turn it around. I don't know what to do to help him, but I'm willing to. If anyone can reach out, General Stewart, ex-130 Signal Squadron. So am I. I was a chock at 130 Signal Squadron. Guys, you're worth the rub. You're worth the work. It's not a chore for me to be here to help you, but sometimes we've got to say some shit that you don't want to hear, and that doesn't mean I don't love the Australian Army. I love it more than anything. I still reckon it's the best job, career, calling in the world that makes you a fucking man. You know, you can't be anything else until you're a man. Work on being a man. Have a mission. You don't have to be so stoic that you don't take painkillers when you hurt yourself, you know, or pretend that you're dreaming of England as you look off to the breeze in the air flowing through your hair like you're some sort of scholar. You know, but you just have to add to the table and make sure the world around you is a better place because you're in it. Yeah, and don't be afraid to call out dickheads, you know, that are counterproductive, i.e., okay, your Palestinian protesters, the same ones that were talking about Black Lives Matter fucking last year, and transgender before that, and feminism before that, and misogynistic fucking males before that, you know, LGBT rights before that. There's always another slogan. Guys, have fun. Enjoy the lottery that is success. You were born in Australia. You were represented by the ANZACs who gave you 100 points for your future so they could give up theirs. I get on a tangent because I love you guys and I love the country. And you deserve it, you know. But you also deserve to be backed when you're not allowed to have a voice within the Royal Australian Regiment, within the Australian Army. And you deserve people to represent you. You know, you should be proud of yourself. Your family should be proud of you as well. And here we go. They're not interested in fixing it. They're hell-bent on fucking it. It's plain as day, and they aren't trying to hide it. Brady, I believe you're right. I actually believe you're right. I don't think it is just negligence. I think there's a deliberate nature to this. No, I do. Giving people jobs. If you vote for Labor Party team, I hate to tell you, you know, they attack the middle class as soon as they get in. They give all the promises, they never deliver, and when they do deliver, what they do is they sprinkle crumbs on those that are easily bought, okay? And then from there, they take it all back anyway. I'm not sure what's getting said here. Jaden question, when you arrive at Kapuka, do they have to drug test? I don't do drugs, just got to know if I have to hold my bladder. You're fine, mate. Now, unusual question for someone that doesn't touch drugs. You know, I had oxycodone the other day for the painkillers for this. They gave me one. I took it. The next day they came and they said, do you want your oxycodone? I said, yeah. And they go, do you want two? I went, two's got to be better than one. I had two and I spent the next 5 hours, you know, on the drugs that killed River Phoenix, thinking what the hell is going on, dreaming like I was running through grassy bloody fields. And I had to keep opening my eyes to see where I was. Now I only ever take one. It works. But we're slowly on the mend, team. Slowly on the mend. I can paint miniatures like this, but what I can't do is turn my hand over to use a mouse properly so that I can edit videos. Otherwise, I would. I'm heading up the coast tomorrow to go and see my dad and give him those crab legs now that I can drive. Here we go. Interesting name. Where is it? Where did it go? Bam. I Stand With Africa. I like that name. Have the majors even done anything for this country? The majors have. A lot of those captains in Afghanistan, etc., and had their hands tied too. We've got some really, really good captains that hated being captains, but they were great lieutenants. Yep. Captain Gooley was fucking amazing. Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, how you going, mate? Poppy seeds will show up in urine samples. Yep. Honestly, guys, if drugs is your thing, Army's not. I love no country more than this one, and it saddens me to see the path we are taking or being pushed to take the blue-haired lefties. Exactly right. It's like women. The massive amount of frustration for males with the modern woman these days is absolutely unbelievable, but it's being misconstrued as toxic masculinity when what it is frustration that we're looking at people that, completely off kilter with the narrative of what our country needs right now. You know? You love your country. You know, you can love your country but hate your politicians. A lot of countries are like that, disenfranchised. Stand With Africa. I meant the major parties. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Look, I totally agree. You know? And as soon as you're great, you know, or you stand out, guess what happens? There seems to be always some sort of sexual allegation placed against you, because then 50% of the population automatically hates you with no evidence, and then from there, you can't come back. You're done. Burnt. Where are we? All the good office work happens from 02, 4, 5. Anyone above 05 is just a political figurehead out of touch. There is so many people that want to do the right thing, that work so many long hours in the military for you. You can hate your boss or think you hate your boss, and then, well done, mate. Happy Hobart. Just join the Black Legion. But how do I call? What'll happen is I'll send you a message. Bam. I'll send you a message straight through to say thank you for coming here, and then you text me, so that your number comes on the bat phone, and then I call you as soon as possible, that day or the next day. And then we talk as long as you want, my friend. Okay. Yeah. So when you go to work, you'll find your boss will be at work normally before you, and your boss will still be there when you leave that day. Now, so they put in the hours, but they're also muzzled, that they're in a dictatorship, that if they get above their skates or forward of their skates, we can lose them to being poached by other organisations that respect their leadership, or they stay quiet for their careers' progress, and we never actually know who they truly are. I see what you did there, KB. I like it. What's Bucko saying? Yep. And I've said that from the start, and any ladies that are allowed to ring up and say, hey, Kaz, what do you mean by that? And I've had this discussion 100 times. Females, no, in combat corps, Yeah. And that's not a slight, but we travel at the speed of the slowest, and everyone knows that men are stronger than females, physically, and we train to fight males on the worst day, on their toughest day, when we're our most tired. You've got to be able to drag someone out of the battle while you're wearing body armor, while you're carrying their weapons. We don't just leave your shit behind, we bring it with us. If you can't save a life with your upper body strength, if you can't do chin-ups, if you can't do dips while you've got all this equipment on, I'm sorry, you won't cut it, can't cut it. You've got to be able to do every single job in the section. You don't get to pick and choose. Yep. And what the other problem is, and I'm not trying to upset the ladies here, but every time I've gone overseas and worked with female soldiers, for some reason, their feet become allergic to each other and their legs spread like they can do the splits. A little bit of Steven Seagal, and it seems to happen as soon as they get overseas. They get fucking 50% better looking, and they take advantage of that. Not all, but enough that it was remarkable. Hey, Heath, how we going here? Yeah, Wingnut. That used to be my nickname for a little while there, Heath. So when you say Wingnut, I always think you're talking to me, because I'm critical of letting people in that don't even pass a PFA. That is so weird to me. So goddamn weird, And do you know who this is the most disrespectful from? You ready for this one? Before we talk to Billy Krask, who's picking up his new car today. They can be, but that's non-conventional warfare, Billy Krask, where they don't go and do that conventional training to get there. That is in of need, where partisans, and people that haven't had to do that fighting, that traditional fighting as a group, as a soldier, they're more fighting as a warrior, skills, etc., and also using their gender to be able to get them in a position where they're not necessarily wearing a uniform, which would get you killed these days as a partisan fighter. What were we talking about? Okay, yeah. So the biggest injustice that happens here, if you look outside arms corps, the biggest injustice is to the actual females that do the work, okay, that turn up prepared, okay, that do try to be one of the boys, that don't open their legs for to create that floating door, Kate Winslet, to allow what's his name, Jack, to float to the bottom of the Titanic because there was room on there for two. They give a bad name to the rest of the girls that do a good job and don't use politics to get ahead. And you saw that a lot too. What do we got there? Is the pay well for infantry? It's good, mate. It's very good, actually. Does it compensate to the workload you do? Absolutely not. But that's why it's called the calling, because the one thing that no one ever asks when they come to infantry is, how much does it get paid? How is it tangible? All of your training is done during work hours. You're surrounded by your best mates, living like a child for sometimes 20 years, 24 for me. Your life is at times boring as hell, and other times you're in a helicopter flying over a foreign country with the doors off of the rifle between your legs, going, how good is this? Living on a fort that's 400 years old in Portuguese East Timor, living in Africa, myself, become an Egyptian citizen. You couldn't buy those experiences. Getting looked after now that I'm medically absolutely deflated, a poor version of a substitute of a man that can't do his job. But the Army's picked up all those bills to look after me now that my chips are down after doing my time. If I was a chippy or I was a plumber or a brickie, I'd be screwed right now. And that's one of the biggest upsetting things for me is when I see people, why would you join the Army? Why would you do that? And when I get around Western Sydney, I see some of the hardest working people I've ever seen in my life, contractors, tradies, people like Carl getting out every day, regardless rain, hail and shine, hottest day, and they're out there on a tin roof, getting the job done, no aircon, and you can see them bracing their backs, getting their wrists and holding it back and forth. Look how sore I am, not complaining, and they're screwed by 45, and there's no one flying in to help them. They're ABN, individually owning their business. There's no one coming in to save them. They've got that pain for another 40 years. Join the Army. If you're going to be sore, at least get compensated for it. Current members serving, I'll tell you why we have retention issues. It's higher up. It's the same old field, exes promised, trips, etc. Yeah, but that's always going to happen. That is always going to happen, and it always did happen. You got to remember, after Vietnam, there'd been no trips until I got in. And then some guys, some SIG qualified people went to Cambodia. Okay, and then one RAR went to Somalia. Then mysteriously, all of a sudden, Rwanda popped up. And then all of a sudden, there we go, nothing more again. Oh, here we go, East Timor. East Timor came up, Iraq, and then we had Afghanistan that went on forever. Who knows what's next? But you've got to be careful, that you don't forget how good the ride is in between the adventures. Because if you get to go and do your job, you got to remember, if you've wished for it, you're going to come back also with mates, with coffins, with flags across those coffins, and despite the fact they're volunteers, it's going to break your heart for the rest of your life too. Be careful what you ask for. I'd imagine that, Dave D. I'd imagine that. And no thanks. No one remembers a Brickie's name, do they? I'd honestly still head to infantry for free for the experience and testing. Don't do it for free. Don't do it for free. But I tell you what, the mateship you get from that, we just had about 20 guys 30 years later go and have a reunion that I couldn't make because of busted war, and my arsehole looks like bloody, it's had 1,000, sailors in it, which it hasn't. And I couldn't make it. But you don't see Brickies having reunions or tradies. Just have a good life, team. Perhaps we should look at the British infantry model. Now they're in more trouble than us, and keep only 3 battalions in their RAR and move remaining battalions back to the States so they can live near their families. Okay, all right. Do we believe? Let us know, team. What do you think the chances are that we are actually going to go on a fight somewhere, anywhere in the next 10 years? Or do you think we're going to be like countries and become isolationists, and we're going to stay within our borders? And the next fight is actually what's happening at the moment, and that's against the battle of socialism and communism within our own country. Someone asked a great question today, and it was, do we believe that this movie that's mysteriously just come out about the Civil War in America, do you reckon that's any sort of freak fluke that's coming out just before the election in the USA? What effect is that going to have on Australia? It's a scary concept, team. Let's have a look at what some of your comments were, by the way, guys. Where are we? So that was Maddie that said that one. Matty says, Matty Harvo, topic, Civil War, current movie, Hollywood tends to predict dark futures. How would Australia fare strategically if the USA went into a civil war? Not good. We see our stock market as soon as Uncle Biden does something wrong, our stock market suffers. I've gone down 12,000 in the last 2 days. But we're still going to turn up for the stream. We're seeing a greater shift between family value. They're starting to lean further and further left. Men are starting to see that there's war drums beating, and now they're starting to lean further and further right, which means that males and females, as we can't have replacement of population at the moment, we've gone beyond that males they don't have anything in common with the girls. We're seeing now that Albanese, I think it was saying now he wants to ban porn and shit. Is that going to go down with all the girls on OnlyFans when you tell them that's the only way they're not allowed to make money? They're not going to like that. We've got some weird shit coming up. What else do we have? What else we got? Okay. I'm just looking at some of the questions we asked you for. Someone just wrote, I'm 50% vegan. I'd be curious to hear your good stories about your career and the little things that make the big picture. That's Elise. Looking forward to your stream. Some peanuts. Mate, honestly, the stories that I could go on with, are all about the shit that feels like it sucks at the time. It's not the good things. It's always the times where you suffered. I got hit in the face with a metal grenade called an M30, and I was the number one scout for the company in the jungle in Tully, and I got smashed in the face, and it smashed my teeth, split my lip in half, got sent back, and cam cream, getting that squeezed out of an open wound, while they're trying to check your teeth at the same time with no medical experience. That was horrible. But then I thought, I'm going to get out of this. Now I'm out of Tully. No, they put bunny ears on me. I wasn't allowed to cam it up, so I walked around like I had this white mustache, like I was from some freaking Nordic country, collecting milk with a skirt, and then I got fucking bullied by my section, because I got the stretcher out of there. What else is there? The time my mates all realised I was scared of heights, while we're flying over East Timor. On the side of skids out of helicopters. For an hour, I had them at the side of a helo, even though I was there 2IC. Scary as shit. The time I complained and bitched more than anyone about why can't we swim at Batagade, and then some sea monster showed its bloody hump and back and fins, and then no swimming for Kaz. Or the time I had a doctor's full fist up my ass wondering why it was bleeding. There's a million things. Where to sit in an APC, the best place is always going to be under the hatch, right beside the driver. Get a good sleep there. You're last in and you're last out of the APC. Fantastic. That's an unusual pick there. Solar Void, I put infantry, armoured corps, and warehousing. Get rid of warehousing. There's no mateship in that. That's just a civilian job in a uniform. Don't do that one, mate. They'll put you in there because no one asked for it. I believe that there. I stand with Africa. Schools don't educate, they indoctrinate. You don't need to do that, Elise. You're already part of Patreon, my friend. I'm going to tell you something exciting at the moment. You've inspired me here, Elise King. Inspired me, Elise Queen. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Can we get some thumbs up, please? Some thumbs up to Elise King. Does that make you transgender if you're a woman and you put King there instead of Queen? What about? Before you rudely interrupted me with that blissful donation, thank you very much. I forget. Okay, so what's going to happen, team? This is really exciting to me. And she put epic fail up there too. I didn't see that. The super sticker. So what's going to happen is I'm ordering up to 1,000 Imperial Romans at the moment. I've already painted, as you can see behind me. Where are we? I know we're getting to an hour soon, team. Wait a sec. Oops. Sorry, Miss Jane. Okay, look behind me. So that's you guys from Patreon behind me that you can see. Oops. Get up there, all the way down here. A few hundred of yous there, and there's another 50 or more just down here. But what we're doing is we're ordering 1,000 Imperial Romans that I'm going to paint, which is going to be a whole series on YouTube. And what's going to happen is 10 cohorts. So each cohort had 480 troops in it, in a Roman legion. And then from there, because you do need to embrace your history to understand your future, and that's where I get a lot of my leadership tenets from. But what's going to happen is there's going to be 10 people. You don't have to be in Patreon. You don't have to be a member. But when the video comes out, we're going to ask for a 150-word speech that you would give your troops just before you go into battle. And it can be funny as shit. It can be cowardly. It could be aggressive. It could be tone, the way you choose it. Right? But then from there, we'll write in, that made it famous. Right? And whoever gets those top 10 speeches, you will actually have 100, okay? 100 Romans similar to this Aventine miniature, okay? You'll have 100 of those, but fully painted. That'll be there representing you. So there's going to be 10 lucky people. They're going to make up this YouTube series to become the face, front man, woman, whoever does those best speeches. And they're going to be funny as shit. And it's going to be something I'm doing from my heart, not just something because I'm turning up because you guys wanted me to come and tell you some things about Kapuka, etc. So put a thumbs up if you're excited about that sort of thing. I know Dave, he's going to get into it. I could write something about all men, whether we're retreating in fear or going forward, let the shade of my shadow keep you cool as we advance or flee in the face of the enemy. Until then, let's pretend we eat grapes in the motherland, and remember what you can carry, you can have. Let's go. Elise, I'll expect you to come up with something cool as well. How many awards do they give it, Kapuka? I think there's 3. Best bush, best shot, best soldier at the Cameron Baird Award VC. Billy Krask, didn't the Romans go woke and let the barbarians become Roman soldiers? They did, yes, but what happened is they also allowed mass immigration, of the Goths to come across, but then they treated them like shit and didn't realise the Goths were ass kickers. And because they had stretched out their armies so much and they had Limitaniae, that was almost like army reserve only, and the legions were brought down to nearly less than 1,000 men. They weren't able to basically put out the spot fires, and they got overrun. Yeah, but they got let down by social reasons, social decay. It is what's happening here, and if you study the past, you will be able to foresee the future, and I can see the future. And I hate to tell you, it's bleak. It's bleak, but it won't be bleak for everyone. Jennifer G, bam, thumbs up there. Newy Joe, some thumbs up there. Kane and Peppers, Daz. Kane, I know Peppers will come up with something good. Dave D, but life is making me work for it, so they future states will be the best I've had. There we are. We've got 5 minutes to go, team. Sorry, I have been absolutely off the chart tonight. It's because I've got the sugar of the coffee in me as well. And, yeah, you know the way it is. There we go. Southern Bushcraft. Good to see you, Cass. I hope you're doing well. Mate, I'm not doing as well as what I appear to be on camera at the moment. But mates tomorrow, who's currently at, my suburb, Stockton in Newcastle. He's up there with his caravan, new car, just like Billy Krask. And we're going to go and see him tomorrow, go and have some nice food, a brotherly hug. And from there, show some appreciation and respect, to each other. And that'll give me a bit of fresh air, put my feet in some salt water, maybe my balls as well. I hope you've just been pessimistic, Kaz. Looking forward to the years ahead. Wingnut, I'm not pessimistic, mate. I can just see the signs, and I feel like the loyalty from our leadership. I don't mean army here. I mean country. It seems like it's greater. And the thing that scares me is at the moment it seems like as we embrace AI technologies, as jobs become redundant, that what's going to happen is there will be some sort of basic, a universal basic wage, which sounds okay on paper. Okay, for those that can't work now because these jobs are now redundant, then what you're going to do is you're going to have this money, not enough to travel, but enough to keep out of the shit. But what comes with that opens the door for something like which also sounds good, like not a universal basic wage, but like a social credit score that as long as you can skip the rope of people you can't trust to the speed they want to whip it, okay, then you can have an okay life, but it's also a rug they can pull out at a moment's notice and go backed by the gun, which is the police officer, and there's nothing you can do to avoid it because they're just following their orders. Hey, what do we got here? Hey, mate, passed my assessment session, psych, and did my blood test. Medical, haven't got results from it yet, but I'm perfectly healthy, no issues. Wonder if I will do my PFA. It's been half a month. After you've done that, that should be fairly quick. What I do say to you is harp on them. Get on their case. Ask them. If they're traveling at a non-professional speed as well, you need to be the Penske file. You need to speak to them. Get in their mind, say, hear your name, and then go, let's shut this guy up so I can go back to coffees and talking to Sarah. Who's Sarah? I don't know. What is a woman? Mate, thank you very much for that. That donation would get some raw chicken for me tomorrow night. Thank you. I'm excited, but also scared of failure. Kapuka. That's the whole thing, man. Anxiety is normally because you care, and that's a good thing, is to care. You should care of failure. The biggest fear that a man always should have is not that he's going to let himself down, but he's going to let his family name down. He's going to let his mates and his team down. And guess what? I can tell you're already a good person. If you're scared of that, then that means you're going in with the right attitude. Someone that says, I'm unapologetically me. I don't care. I can do it. I kick this ass. I'm a winner at this. You go, well, we'll determine that, mate. You don't get to say that you killed it, I smashed it. You let the people that run the test tell you whether that is. That's not up to your judgment. When people tell me they've smashed a BFA, and I'm going, mate, I used to do it in 8 minutes 40. Okay, 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. You didn't smash it, dude. You're never going to be fit enough for the person who's screaming on a stretcher. Remember that. Bam. Wingnut. I feel like we're the same person. Did you earn yours through ears like I did? What do we got here? Dark. Have a full chat with 7 people same date. Guys, gals, on Monday, would you like me to get on here and set this up where we have some questions, and on Monday we actually have a panel of 4 or 5 people on here? Would you like 4 or 5 of you guys to be able to jump on there? Because I can invite people whenever I want. I can put the link, right there in chat, and just assume that the right people are going to jump up on there. Now Bucko can jump on there because I know him. Dave D, he's not going to jump on there because he's too busy getting the second Harbour Bridge built at the moment you don't know about yet. But guys and gals, I want to see more of your faces on here. I want to say not just this is your channel. I want to see us represent and see your views as well. Here we go. Adam, 3 hour back to Holsby, old faithful backs the hammer. There we go. There is no better looking beret other than SASR, okay, than the 3 hour beret. It stands out. Shit, yes, do it, says Elise King. Yep, we want to see the faces of some of the freaks that make up In the Trenches with Kaz. Can you out-freak me? We'll see. Guys and gals, do you want more? Do you want another 10 minutes? This is for you. Do you want another 10 minutes on here? If you do, for me. I love this. We've got a video that's coming out. We're supposed to have shitloads of videos coming out, but this hand could not please a woman from any time in history. Okay, Dave D. Hey, look, Dave, and there is no reason, if you were in a position of military or of what would we call it, or civilian practice, private practice, etc., that if you wish to stay in some sort of incognito, you can either come up with some sort of weird mask or contraption that will make it even funnier, but let me know, or we just don't put your name up there, and we don't touch an army subject when we have military people on. I'm not here to compromise you. I'm here to help people like General Stewart. I'm here to help, not to hurt. People like Wingnut, I'm here to be there for you. I'm your love child, Kaz. Oh, I love it. Guys and gals, what we're going to do, 1 hour and 3 to go. All right, what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly play this again, the introduction tonight, because I need people to understand we're here for the right reason and we're here for you. Press the like button, and this will be your good night. And I really hope that all of you, find some sort of peace in the decision making to embrace your life as an adventure, okay, not just something that's there to pay the bills. Because when you get to 30 and you turn around, it's too late to start rebuilding yourself then. If you're 30 at the moment, take that back. It's not too late for you. But guys and gals, make a move. Okay, what I'd say to you, I have my interview on the 8th of May. Any tips? PK, Starstorm, there's never been a better day to get on Patreon right now so that tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, while I've got some clear, fresh air in my face at Stockton Beach while it's raining in the back of my combi, okay, that you ring me up and I answer all your questions one by one listed. Something you can't get done in text messages, okay? Buy me a goddamn coffee and let's get it done. Enjoy that crab and salt water dip. I will do, Elise King, the tranny. Okay, do you know that I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to join the Patreon. Can't wait to hear your PK. All right, let's get through to this. And guys and gals, thank you for your sesterces, for your denaros, for your time, and understanding you can be anywhere at the moment. And a passport into the military is just knowing the truth and what you're getting yourself into. And remember, I still believe it is the very best career to make you the very best version of you. The alternatives, they just don't compare. And the Romans, the Republican Romans over my shoulder, that is, and we've got some more there. And we're leading into the Imperial Romans as we start the Roman project, which sometimes distracts me from what we're doing right here. But in saying that, so does this filthy claw as 20 litres of diesel in a Tesla. But tonight we're going to talk about upriver all the way down to where we are now. What we're seeing is the betrayal, I believe, of an Australian institution less than a week after we've just got up for dawn service for ANZAC Day, Capion Day, Cabello Day, whatever you want to call it. Wherever you decide that you're lest we forget falls. What we're seeing now is a total eclipse of the heart, well, the Australian military, so to speak. And I don't know where to put a touch on it. So tonight when we go into this, understand that the reason why we do this, the reason why we have a voice, the reason why we say this as this introduction is not to be negative about an institution I still believe is the best career for anyone at the start of their job anyway, especially males, to give them that sense of mission, that sense of identity, that sense of scaffolding to allow them to be the best version of themselves when they go into trades, whether they go into uni, whether they go into entrepreneurial business, whether it goes into a marriage or it goes into as a father. When you learn how to be a fucking man, okay, and you won't know until you are one, until someone else says that you are one, well, it's important that we address on how you get there. You don't suddenly become a man by being an apprentice plumber. You don't become a man by going to university. You don't become a man, okay, by starting a business. You can find failure. You can find success as well. It's all about an internal combustion mission engine designed for you to find out exactly who you are in the bad times, surrounded by others that won't let you off the hook, that hold your feet to the fire and make you the best version of you through adverse conditions, but also sharing the spoils as a team member. You have to be able to be led. So we're going to talk about the reason why we talk about. I actually believe all managers and leaders in all corporate roles should have a time of the year where they go back and do a week in the trenches, where they hear the truth. Undercover boss, if you will. The decline on what's happening with the Australian military at the moment, Air Force, Army, Navy, leadership, everything and all of above, is because at the moment we're being let down, and I haven't worked out yet, is it ignorance? Is it, what's the other word, negligence? Or is it deliberate, an element of deliberate, where we actually have no leadership at all in the military and the army? And I don't mean from a military perspective. What I mean is from the perspective of they have no fucking voice. It has been completely taken away by the HR of our political arm that is not allowing our soldiers, our leadership, our scholars, those that have walked the sands of foreign nations, who have had dead soldiers, signatures to mothers, all of that. They've done their bit. But now they have another that has no power in the family house, despite the fact that he still has to kill the wolf, provide the food, provide the shelter, but has to sit there, doesn't have a chair, eats last and gets treated like a piece of shit and gets no... Are any of you that cuckold guy that thinks, am I going to be married for another 60 years? What the hell is going on here? Where did I lose my agency? Is the back of my head so sore no matter what I do, the pecking never stops? Because that's all I hear on the phone these days. No sex in a cold bed in summer. The reason why I say this is so that if it gets to the right ears, people like General Stewart OAM, because he's not going to hear this internally from his own people. I really like that. I agree. You don't give yourself a nickname, you get named. There's something wrong. We've got PDIs that have no power at all. There's no fitness test to get out of Kapuka. They pass that problem on. We've got no standards. We've got no training at Kapuka. We pass that problem on to people that aren't instructed. So instead of getting a formal instruction, they get a formal brief by someone who's not qualified or senior to be able to give that or understand the downflow effects to capability. We have a HR department that is completely failing Australia, which is failing in turn capability, which is going to end up taking lives because people don't know what they don't know. When the shots start firing, it's the kids that bleed. Dark, you're exactly right. And a man should also always know what is his red line. At what stage will he fight regardless of what the price is? I think that's important too. What do you reckon about that, Dark? It is. And ultimately it comes back to you. And then we're going to hear people screaming with their life. They're paying money to Ukraine. Why? While we're taking money from our own defence. We're giving money to female shelters for domestic violence while we're taking away shelters for Australia. We are now allowing the inflow of immigrants at a rate that we cannot contain while we've got a housing crisis. Now, what else is going on? There's so many things. Quotas leaking into military through HR, which means we travel at the speed of the fattest, which means we're in big trouble. And if enough of these people get in and they end up staying in, then that will become the standard of commanders as well as those that are the guy and the girl on the ground. We need to be rude. We need to be mean to be kind. Because ultimately it's going to mean how much Australian blood hits the soil needlessly. And if I'm the parent of a soldier, I want to know that of the leadership, and it hasn't been taken away by some female minister or some bloke who's trying to survive his tenure while he eats olives and pretends to like them. That's me for the moment. That's the introduction. Let's crack onto that now. We'll go a bit deeper. Thank you for being here. I can't use my paw at the moment. Pornhub, sorry. I'm not subscribed. Take it easy, guys. Let's get there in a minute. Okay, and remember that Mitch just got his date for enlistment today, which is fantastic. Yeah, so team, I think that's about it tonight. Hopefully we've started a conversation. What you can do is share these sort of things with people, or at least say to them, hey, as a manager of a corporate team or whatever, maybe come and check this out. Maybe get your corporate team to say, hey, Kaz, you live within 500 kilometres. Would you come and do a public speaking event tailored just for our company? And I will do that. And I'll promise you one thing. I won't embarrass you. I've done it a bunch of times. I've done it for corporate events. I've done it for motorcycle groups. I've done it for Beyond Blue. I've done it for suicide awareness in the mines. I've did did it for suicide events. I'm there to help, but I can't do it unless you get invited. I'm like the vampire. I can't get in the house. Salem's Lot. Holy water. All right, guys. I've spoken enough shit for tonight. It's great to be back. Thank you for being here and sharing this moment with me. And tomorrow, I'm absolutely going to enjoy the drive up north. Look after your family. Do it to them before they do it to you. And remember, all of the downfall of Rome should actually tell you what the actual building blocks are to success, but also to that of failure. Study the past, study those that were greater than the greatest person you've ever met, and understand what good times and bad times meant. But even during good times, you still got to crack eggs. If you're not willing to take the life of another human being, you can never be great. Remember that one. All right, dude, take it easy. Get a dog. All right, see you later. Mucho respecto.